Here's a question that haunts most people. Why do some people build wealth effortlessly while others work just as hard and stay broke? The answer isn't what you think. It's not about making more money. It's not about luck. And it's definitely not about being smarter. It's about how you think about money in the first place. Because rich people don't just earn differently. They think differently. And once you understand the mental frameworks they use, you'll realize you've been playing a completely different game this whole time. By the end of this video, you'll learn the exact mindset shifts that separate millionaires from the middle class, and how to rewire your brain to think like someone who builds wealth instead of just chasing it. Let's break the code. Most Americans are taught to chase income, get a degree, land a high-paying job, climb the ladder, make six figures. But here's what nobody tells you. Income doesn't equal wealth. You can earn $200,000 a year and still be broke. You can earn $60,000 and be financially free. The difference? Rich people don't measure success by how much they make. They measure it by how much they keep and how hard that money works for them. Think about it like this. Your paycheck is what you trade your time for. Wealth is what buys your time back. Average people think, how do I get a raise? Rich people think, how do I build something that pays me while I sleep? That shift, from trading time for money to making money work for time, is the first mental rewiring you need. Because until you stop seeing yourself as a worker and start seeing yourself as an asset builder, you'll always be stuck on the treadmill. And the treadmill doesn't lead anywhere. It just keeps you moving. Now let's talk about the most important concept in personal finance, and the one most people get completely backward. Assets versus liabilities. Rich people obsess over this. Poor and middle-class people ignore it entirely. Here's the simplest definition. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. Sounds obvious, right? But here's where it gets tricky. Because most Americans think they own assets when they actually own liabilities disguised as assets. Your car? Liability. It loses value the second you drive it off the lot, and it costs you insurance, gas, and repairs every month. Your house? Depends. If you live in it and it drains your cash flow with mortgage, taxes, and maintenance, that's a liability. If you rent it out and it generates income, now it's an asset. That designer watch, the new iPhone, the couch you financed at 0% interest, all liabilities. They look like success, but they're bleeding you dry. Rich people buy assets first. Stocks, businesses, real estate that cash flows, skills that increase earning power. They let those assets pay for the liabilities later. Middle-class people do it backward. They buy the lifestyle first, then wonder why they can't get ahead. Here's the brutal truth. Every dollar you spend on a liability is a dollar that will never work for you. Every dollar you put into an asset is a dollar that multiplies. And that's the game. Rich people play Monopoly. Everyone else plays checkers. Let's talk about the one trait that predicts wealth better than intelligence, education, or even income. Delayed gratification.
It's not sexy. It's not exciting.
But it's the single biggest separator between people who build wealth and people who stay stuck. Here's what it looks like in action. Average person sees a $5,000 bonus, buys a vacation. Rich person sees a $5,000 bonus, buys dividend-paying stocks. Average person gets a raise, upgrades their apartment. Rich person gets a raise, keeps living the same and invests the difference. Average person finances a $50,000 car to look successful. Rich person drives a $10,000 used car and invests the other $40,000. It's not about being cheap. It's about being strategic. Because here's the psychology most people miss. That vacation feels amazing for 2 weeks. Those stocks pay you forever. That fancy car makes you feel rich for 6 months, until the payment becomes normal and you're back to feeling average, just with less cash flow. Rich people understand something most people don't. Pleasure now costs you power later, and they're willing to look broke today to be wealthy tomorrow. That's why you see millionaires driving Hondas and billionaires wearing the same hoodie every day. It's not about the money. It's about the mission. They're not trying to look rich. They're trying to be free, and freedom requires sacrifice in the short term. The question is, are you willing to feel uncomfortable now so you can be unstoppable later? Because delayed gratification isn't deprivation. It's a trade. You're trading temporary comfort for permanent options. Here's a myth that keeps people poor. Rich people are risk takers. Wrong. Rich people are risk managers. There's a massive difference. Average people avoid risk entirely because they think safety equals security. So they work the same job for 30 years, keep all their money in a savings account earning 0.5% interest, and wonder why they never get ahead. Rich people don't avoid risk. They study it, calculate it, and take it strategically. Here's how they think differently. Risk 1. Investing in the stock market. Average person.
Oh no!
I could lose
dropping
money.
again.
Too risky. Rich person. Not investing is the bigger risk. Inflation is stealing 3% a year. I need to beat that or I'm moving backward. Risk 2. Starting a business. Average person. What if I fail? Rich person. What if I succeed? And what can I learn even if I don't? Risk 3. Quitting a stable job. Average person. I need the security. Rich person. One income source is the riskiest position of all. I need multiple streams. See the pattern? Rich people flip the script. They see staying comfortable as the actual danger. Because here's what most people don't realize. You're taking risks whether you know it or not. Staying in one job is a risk. Keeping all your money in cash is a risk. Not learning new skills is a risk. The difference is, rich people choose their risks intentionally. They diversify, they educate themselves, they take calculated bets with asymmetric upside, small downside, massive potential upside. And when they do lose, they don't see it as failure. They see it as tuition. They learn, adjust, and play again. Poor people take one loss and quit. Rich people take 10 losses and call it market research. So how do you actually rewire your brain to think like this? Step 1. Ask better questions. Stop asking, can I afford this? Start asking, how will this make me money? If it doesn't generate value, delay it. Step 2. Track assets versus liabilities. Every month, write down what's putting money in your pocket and what's taking it out. Then shift the ratio. Even 10% more toward assets changes everything. Step 3. Build your patience muscle. Practice small delays. Wait 48 hours before any non-essential purchase. That pause trains your brain to choose long-term over short-term. Step 4. Redefine risk. Stop seeing risk as danger. Start seeing it as the cost of opportunity. The real risk is staying the same while the world moves forward. Step 5. Consume differently. Rich people read differently. They consume content that challenges them, not entertains them. Replace 1 hour of scrolling with 1 hour of learning about money, business, or investing. You don't need a finance degree. You don't need a trust fund. You just need to start thinking like someone who builds instead of someone who spends. Because wealth isn't about the money you have, it's about the decisions you make with it. Millionaires don't just earn more, they think differently. And now you know the frameworks they use. Assets over liabilities. Delayed gratification over instant pleasure. Strategic risk over blind safety. These aren't tricks. They're mental models. And once you adopt them, your financial life doesn't just improve, it transforms. This is real-world finance, where we decode how money really works. If this shifted your perspective, hit like and subscribe, because we're just getting started. Let's build wealth the smart way. Together.